Hello everybody, welcome back. We're doing the game of Active Directory, but not really. Um, Today's video is not for the seasoned people out there who are familiar with the pen testing content. I cover some very basic things that those of you who are not familiar with the ideas, or not familiar with the lab, who are not familiar with the tools, those of you who are not familiar with Kelly and things like that, uh, might find useful. It's very basic ideas. For instance, I'm just going to flip over to my screen. When you when you look at my screen, just a second. Oh, yeah. For instance, when you look at my screen, I'm already looking at the lab. What you're looking at is uh, the Ubuntu distribution, and I'm running VirtualBox. Okay, within VirtualBox, I've got the 5 hosts that are set up as you follow the instructions for setting up this lab. But I am also accessing this lab via RDP. Okay, so I'm still, after all these years, I'm still a Windows person. And I think I'm still going to be a Windows person despite all the drama with Copilot and whatnot. It's still an operating system that I'm most comfortable with. Okay, and I suspect most of you, well, not most of you, but I suspect many of you, that's the operating system that you're also, more familiar with. So I still need to access the lab. I still need to interact with VirtualBox in some way. I may need to install some software in the individual um, uh, boxes, in the individual workstations, in the individual servers that are running in there. So I may need to, well, to interact directly with the Ubuntu operating system that is hosting the lab. Okay, so in my house, in my situation, it's a box that's sitting over there, tucked nicely in the corner. And if everything goes okay, I never have to interact with the box at all. Some of you who have got a little bit more sophistication in the labs, you might have this machine sitting in your basement somewhere, and you will never be touching that host box anymore. That box, that Ubuntu box that's running your lab. Okay, but then the question is how do you interact with it? Well, that's where RDP comes in. If you look at my setup, all I need to do to access the lab is to run mstsc. Let me just bring over the window this side, and that happens to be the internal IP address for accessing the lab. Okay, so this is your normal remote desktop client that you run in Windows to access your machine, to access the Ubuntu box that's hosting your virtual lab. Okay, so this is how I do it. So I want to show you how do I go about setting that up. Okay, there we go, forgetting our password. Let's try again. There, got it. Okay, so as you can see, this is the normal remote desktop client that's now accessing my Kelly box. So I wanted to show you how I set that up. You may be familiar with it. As I said, this content is not for you today. This content is if you experience this content is not for you. This content is for those of you who are not familiar. Okay, those of you who are getting started. Okay. Now, I'm going to switch over to the other screen and show you Proxmox, because I've got a Kelly box running there with remote sharing not enabled just yet. Okay, so uh, okay, so starting the video with a remote desktop already set up does feel a little bit like cheating, so I needed to show you what it looks like when you enable it. Okay, it's a very simple skill. So what you do is you don't need Proxmox for this, so this just pretend when I'm starting, when I'm showing you this console, just pretend that you are sitting physically in front of your Ubuntu box for the first time. Okay, you haven't enabled remote desktop yet. Okay, so I'm going to log on to the computer. All right, so this is the machine that's running Greylog, which is going to be on the next video. On the next video, I show you how, as you do your enumeration, I show you how some of the tools that you use can actually be picked up by the defenders. Okay, so that's going to be what I'm going to be showing you in the next video. But for now, we're just going to be using this video how to show you how to enable remoting. Okay, so the first thing that we're going to do is to look for sharing. So we go to activities and we just type sharing. If we know how to spell it, sharing. So we go to settings, all right? And in settings, we're looking for sharing, okay? And then we say remote desktop, we turn that on. We turn remote control on. And what I like to do, because the default password you're going to see here is set up for you. It's a complicated password. So I'm going to change it to something that I'm going to remember. So I'm going to set up a password that I'm going to remember. It's not a super secret password, but this is an internal lab, so I'm not too worried. Famous last word. Okay, so with that password already set up, we close that window, and we close that window. We find out what our IP address is. IPA. There you go. And there's our IP address. Okay. And now we go to our Windows computer. We start our remote desktop client. Let me bring the window over here. Right click, paste. Ooh, nope. Let's rather type that in. Why don't we keep things simple? 192. Oof. Numlock is off. Let's try again. 192.168.2.245. asking for a username, qdata, password is the password that we already set up. It will prompt you for the certificate. If you say yes, I like to say don't ask me again. And hey presto, we've got that running. So as you can see, when I type over here, you can also see that it's happening over there. Okay, so that's how you do it. All right, then you close this. So as I said, this here is meant to mimic us sitting in front of the computer, but what's really happening is that we're using Proxmox. Okay, so this video is not about Proxmox. Proxmox was simply mimicking a situation where we are sitting physically in front of a computer. Okay, so that's it up. Okay, so now we're done with that. I'm going to close that and I'm going to leave Proxmox for now. Okay, right. Okay. The next thing I want to talk about is accessing your Kelly machine. Okay, so we know that we're going to be using commands like nmap and crackmap exec and SMB client and RDP client and all those wonderful tools. And all those wonderful tools are, of course, in our Kelly distribution. Okay, so and of course, all those wonderful tools they are in our Kelly box. Now, switching back on to our Ubuntu box, we see that Kelly is running over there. So I just want to go over with you how do we get Kelly on that particular machine, and moreover, how do we if I can just switch back to my Windows machine, I've got it set up on my machine that I can just start a command prompt like that and go SSH qdata at, hopefully this is the IP address, az.80, no, it's .230. If we remember our passwords. Thank you. So to me, if I'm able to access my Kelly box from a Windows machine like that, I'm happy. Yes, there will be those instances where you need to run RDP, running it from your host box. Well, that's all the more reasons why you should be RDPing into your Ubuntu box, as I've showed you. So right now, we are only going to go through the process of getting our Kelly box running on our Ubuntu host box. Okay, so let's do that. So what we're going to do is we are going to exit over there, and we're going to switch over to our Ubuntu host machine, and we are actually going to shut down this Ubuntu. Why? We're not shutting down Ubuntu, we're going to shut down Kelly. And the reason we're doing that is because, well, I need to show you how to get this distribution there. So I'm just going to shut it down gracefully. Here we go. Okay, I'm tired of waiting for it anymore, so I'm just going to shut it down. Power off the machine. Bye bye, because I'm going to get rid of the machine. Okay, bye bye. Remove the machine, delete all the files, gone. Okay, and all we have now are the Kelly boxes. There is a Windows box that I've also set up that I wanted to join the domain, but you don't actually need this Windows box when you're actually playing with the lab. So this is just, for my interest. In fact, let's keep it consistent. Let's also get rid of it. Okay, so what we now need to do is to go and download the Kali virtual machine. Okay, so we just go to Google and we say Kali VM like that. We go to the Kali page, we select virtual machines, and we download VirtualBox. So I'm not going to be downloading it. I have in fact downloaded before, and I'm going to show you on my downloads. So there's the 3.1 gigabyte compressed VirtualBox image that I've downloaded from Kelly. And the next thing I'm going to do is I am going to extract it. So I right click and I select extract here. And while I make myself some coffee, we're going to let this guy extract. I'll see you in a bit. All right, the file is here. We rename this folder. And the folder where all the virtual boxes stay. Where I click, we paste. Okay, all we need to do now is to add that virtual machine. So let's close the browser, go to VirtualBox, machine, add. We go to that folder, we select Kali, open, and there's a box over there. All right, with the VirtualBox imported into the VirtualBox manager, what we now need to do is to match the interfaces for this VM to match these ones here. So that's what we do now. We go to settings, network. So these are the adapters that we will want to match. So let's go have a look at the first one. We go to any of the 5 settings, network. We see that we've got 2 adapters. One is NAT and the other one is host only. Okay, so we go do that. We go to Kali, settings, network. The NAT, that's already enabled, but we need the second one as well. We enable it. Host only. Okay, so these match. All right, I really don't like this name, it's so long. Can I change it? Settings, the name, can I just call it Kelly? Yes, I can. That looks better. Okay, so the interfaces match. Okay, the other thing that I want to change is the RAM. We go to settings, system. There's memory. we go to 4096. That's much better. And then we start the box. Box is starting for the first time. Here's a countdown. We let it go. Why not maximize the screen? A bit of coffee will help. Username Kelly, password Kelly. Okay. Let's try to resize the screen so that we can get full screen. Does it work? Yes, it does. And we go to terminal because we want to have a look at the interface cards. We go IP A. We see that one there, and we see that one there. Brilliant. But we do not have a way of getting to our Windows computer, do we? And let's try to do that. Our Windows computer is sitting at what IP address? We go have a look. Launch command prompt. IP config. We're sitting there. Now we know through net we can get from there to there, but how do we get directly from there to there? Can we ping it? Ping 192.168.56.120. No, we cannot. But obviously through net we can get to 192.168.2.215. Yeah, through net we can get in there, but it doesn't work the other way around. So what we need is an additional interface that is going to be sitting on this subnet here. Okay, and that's why we're going to need a bridge interface. So what we do is we shut down the Kelly box. As we wait for the shutdown. Network doesn't allow us yet because the computer has not totally shut down yet. Now on my computer it takes a while and I haven't figured it out why it takes so long, so I am just going to risk it and hope that on your computer doesn't take so long. I'm gonna go and force it close so that we can modify the network settings. And we said adapter 1 is net, adapter 2 is host only. We need adapter 3 to be bridged to that interface there. Okay, it might be a little bit different on yours, but let's have a look. We start the computer up. Kelly is now booting with our additional interface, and hopefully it picks up DHCP. that we can use to interact with it. So a terminal is already open. We do IPA. And now we see that we've been given an IP address in the range that the Windows computer can access. So we try to ping that. Can I increase a font here? No, I cannot. Control Alt. Nope, that's not working. View. Can I zoom in here? No zoom in here. Control plus, there you go. Yeah, there you go. So we're sitting on the right subnet. Okay, let's see if we can access it from our Windows box. Success. Brilliant. Okay, so now the only other thing that we need to do is to see if we can access SSH. No, we cannot. Switching back onto the machine. Do we have OpenSSH installed? Status SSH. It is loaded, but it is not enabled. Okay, so sudo SSH. It's doing that, and we can start the service. SSH. We check the status again. Up and running. Perfect. Now we quit, and we try to access it from the Windows machine. Clear. To access that. Yes. Success. Success. Clear. All right. Perfect. Okay. So now what we have demonstrated is that we are able to use the command line to access the Kali box. The Kali box is the one that we're going to be doing. We're going to be using to do our Nmap scans and all these other tools that we're going to be using. Okay, so on the remoting side of things, we've done RDP so that we are able to view our Ubuntu host box. That's the box that is hosting our virtual boxes, the GOAT machines, the GOAT virtual machines. And then what I've also demonstrated to you is how to go about setting up a Kali VM to be part of the GOAT lab. And then what you've been able to do is once the Kali VM is running, now we are able to SSH into that box from a Windows machine. Okay. The next thing I want to talk about is something very small. Let me just switch over to the Kelly box. Okay, so we're just going to minimize the code machine. Okay, so we're back now on, we've RDP'd, we've used a remote desktop protocol to access the Ubuntu machine that is hosting our code boxes. Okay, so what I want to show you is a feature that has suddenly disappeared with this iteration of game of Active Directory. Let me just zoom in here a little bit. Okay, after adjusting that font size. So what I want to show you here is a slight irritation that I have with this version of code. The first version of code, one could do a vagrant halt to shut down the machines. So in the old game of Active Directory, once I do this, I've been able to shut down the machines. But if you try to do that here, it tells you about the environment or target is required. I did not know what that meant, but I just follow the command here, just to run that command to get an idea of what it's talking about. And then I've been able to see that for me to be able to halt any machine, I'm going to need to use these IDs over there. So in other words, if I run vagrant halt and we pick one of the IDs, let's pick the first one, copy, and we paste that there. That should shut down the machine. Yes, it's doing a graceful shutdown of the machine, as you can see there. Okay, now if I want to start the machine up again, I should be able to run that command there, and then that should start the machine up again. Okay. Just waiting for it to start. Takes a while depending on how fast the host machine is and how much RAM you gave the virtual computer. Basically, how many resources you've been able to give the virtual computers. So if you give it more resources, then this process goes a lot quicker. Okay, it's up and running. We just need the command to return to report that state. Here we are. Okay, now it's done. Now the machine is up and running. Now, because I've worked with this box for a long time now, because I've worked with this lab for a long time now, I know that you could still do vagrant halt. If you're sitting in a particular folder, and that folder is code AD providers. Nope. Code once more. Providers VirtualBox. Okay, so if I'm sitting here, because the vagrant file exists over there, it will allow me to do a vagrant halt. And then it will start the graceful shutdown of all the computers. So I'm just going to speed it up a bit, and I'll be back with you once the shutdown is complete. Now, one by one, the computers are shutting down. One by one, they're gracefully shutting down. It's going to take a while, so I'll be back with you once everything has completely shut down. There you go. Similarly, if you are sitting on that path over there, you can bring the machines up with vagrant up. Again, I'll be back once all the machines have been turned on again, one by one. Two more. One more. And the last one. Okay. So all the boxes are back up running. So my workaround that I thought about is, let's go back to the home folder and I run that command again, the one that lists all the vagrant instances, that one there. So how about we copy all these into some notepad application. I don't know what's a notepad application that comes with Ubuntu. Okay, we'll use Nano. We say Nano vagrant IDs, and we paste, and then we remove. Okay, so we've got our IDs. Let's have a look at that file again. Let's just cat it out. Vagrant IDs. All right. And what if we say vagrant halt and vagrant IDs, will that work? No, that won't work. Well, there has to be a way. So we go to the internet, ChatGPT. Thank you very much. We'll take that. Exit. File. We'll rename vagrant IDs to vagrant IDs dot text. There's no move. There you go. That took that, and then we chmod lab up. Okay. There's a file. It's now been made executable. So if we go, well, I suppose I put the cart before the horse. The lab is already up and I'm saying up, but let's try it anyway. Let's see. No. Oh, actually, it's working. Huh? No. What happened? That didn't work. It's supposed to be up now. Let's go back to GPT and see what you've done wrong here. It's to halt. Okay. And let's have a look at that file. Actually, that's supposed to be lab down. Okay, good. Now let's have a look, see what we've done wrong. Vagrant IDs here. So what's the problem? Let's look at the vagrant IDs file. I don't see anything wrong. Move. Nope. Oh, okay. You get all these funny spaces. Nope. I think the funny spaces didn't help us much. Okay, so now we try lab down and see if we can bring the rest of the machines down, because only a few of them went down. In fact, only the last one went down. So we go lab down. Much better. So I think when we copied that script, there was a bunch of characters after the ID. No, actually, when we pasted the vagrant IDs, there was a bunch of extra characters next to the IDs themselves that prevented the whole machine from shutting down. But there, ChatGPT provided, and we're able to shut down again. So similarly, we want to bring up the machines. So what we're going to do is we're going to copy lab down to lab up and modify the command a little bit. That's going to be vagrant up. We're not halting anymore. We are starting. Starting the vagrant instance. Instances have started. Started. Okay, where else? That looks okay. We save. Yes. We just make sure that it is executable. It is executable. How do we know that? It's nice and green, and we've got that X flag over there. So let's try our scripts. Lab up. There you go. Like magic, one by one, they come up. So I'm just going to wait again. All right, the machine is up again. One final thing I want to talk about is the time difference. The time difference. When you look at the time inside the virtual machines, it says it's Monday 2:03 p.m. Okay, but right now, as I make this video, the time is 3 minutes past 11. I won't get into how I asked ChatGPT, but ChatGPT did oblige because I went and asked, how do I go about adjusting the time? And what I came up with through ChatGPT, it wasn't all my work now, is I went and got a YAML file. I'm just going to show you what this YAML file looks like, and I believe I put it into the Ansible folder. So let's go to I need a better keyboard. Code AD, yep, code Ansible. That's where all the YAML files are. If I list all those files by order of what happened there? Minus L. There you go. If I list them chronologically, you will see that there's two files that I created yesterday. Actually, I set up this environment in May, but yesterday these are the two files that I added that helped me with the time synchronization issue. This is what the YAML file looks like. The most important part there is where you say that the host will be defined in a section called Windows. So where do you define that? I defined that in an external file. I called it q.host. We can have a look at that. q.hosts. There you go. And there I define the Windows section, and also I define vars. I still don't quite understand it. It's all the magic of ChatGPT, of course. But I created a section there and then basically I redefined where all these hosts are. And of course, vagrant is the default username and password, you know, for these virtual machines so that Ansible can do its magic. Then I close that and I pretty much followed the command Ansible playbook -I. So inventory in that case is going to be that that qdata host file that I created over there, and then I am going to point to my YAML file. Okay, so what I did, let's bring up the host file so that we see the magic happen, and hopefully Murphy won't strike again, and we run but I believe before I do that, I need to be in the virtual environment. So if I remember well, that was home, Gold, the virtual environment, NV Gold, right? Where am I? Where am I? Let me go home. And I believe that's where it is. Clear. Okay, so I need to do that. Ben, nope. The command is source activate. Great. Once I'm in that virtual environment, it will know about Ansible playbooks. So what folder am I sitting on? I need to go back to Gold Ansible. And from there, I do Ansible good playbook -I. I specify the environment file and the YAML file. Okay, and then hopefully, okay, let's make it a little bit more dramatic. Let's pop out these windows so that we can see the time change one by one. Okay, I think we're ready. So ideally it should be that, and then that, and that. No, I didn't want to, I don't know, maximize you. Okay, there we go. Then that, and I don't know where the other one is. It's hiding somewhere. Okay, well, it worked yesterday when I tried it. Let's see if it's gonna oblige us now. Okay, here we go. Boom. Okay, it's not giving any errors. Let's have a look. There you go. Am I right? Yes, that one has changed. That one is changed. That one is about to change. That one has changed, and that one will change. Come on. There you go. They're all done. All done. Happiness. Happiness. I'm very happy. So what I am going to do is I'm going to include those two files. Let me just go to Windows, go back to Windows. What I'm going to do is on the nodes update, I'm going to add that bit so we can just add it together. Refresh. Done. Okay, that took a while. I'm going to try and shorten all of that in edit, but if you're still watching and I didn't lose you there, thank you. I know my voice was a little bit low today because I'm doing this in the late evening while everybody's sleeping. But anyway, if you're still here, thank you very much. I hope you enjoyed it. Hope you learned something. I'll see you on the next one.